Hey guys, what's up? It is your buddy Keith, and I am here live again in the control room at Essex Recording Studios, just outside London in Southend-on-Sea, England, baby. I've got one of the coolest Jacksons we've ever had. This might be the coolest Jackson that's been in the studio. It's the earliest Jackson we've ever had here in the studio. Can't wait to tell you all about it. So, if you're new to the channel, subscribe, hit like. We just hit 8,000 subscribers today, guys. Thank you so much. We've passed 2.5 million views. And, it's you guys following us on all the socials at Essex Recording Studios on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter. That's really been driving this channel. So we really appreciate it, guys. All right. So, what have we got here? Well, this guitar came out of a collection of 5 guitars that were kept in really great condition by a guitarist up in Scotland. And a lot of these guitars he's had from new. This one is a 1984 Jackson Kelly with a super ultra low serial number, J0331. That's 1984, very early, and this was built in the first Dimas factory. 83 was the first year where they really started making actual guitars for the public. I think they made the Randy Rhoads prototype in 82. And if you look on our YouTube channel, we actually have a video of Jackson #1. I went to Switzerland where there's the craziest Jackson guitar collection. And the guy's got Jackson #1. He's got the Randy Rhoads prototype that Randy didn't take. He's got the first Kelly ever made, the first Jackson Telecaster ever made. He's got the original drawing for the Jackson logo, first Charvel. Yeah, just nuts. But this is really cool too. I mean, we had a if you look on the channel, we have a Jackson bass that's 6 serial numbers after this, 0337. And it was a black Jackson concert bass with the Tree of Life inlay and 1 dot at the 12th fret. Really interesting. And generally, these early guitars were owned by established artists or up-and-coming guitarists in the 80s. All very expensive at the time. They were a special order. It was strictly a custom shop. And a lot of really cool features that we don't see on newer Jacksons. They just don't do it anymore. For instance, fret nibs on the binding. They don't do that anymore. It's only the early San Dimas models that get that. Beautiful mother of pearl shark fin inlays, by the way. Let me turn the lighting down so you can see how they pop. Other great features. So these are early Jackson USA pickups. They don't have any branding or anything on them. This is what they look like. I guess very similar to Seymour Duncan's of the era. You've got a top-mounted Floyd Rose, and this has the early screw-type tremolo arm. Don't see that anymore. So yes, this screws in. The Jackson has had 3 different, the Kelly has had 3 different body shapes. So the first style, called the King Kelly, has the cutouts here and here and here. Makes it look a bit extreme. I think they did 25 reissues in 2005. Like I said, I've had my hands on the original thing. This shape is called the Kelly because it was made for Brad Kelly of an Australian metal band called Heaven. The San Dimas body style, which you see here, is a slightly smaller and more, I think, elegant body style than what exists now. A little bit maybe narrower. I'll have to have a look and see if we've got another new Kelly. I think we sold our Japanese Kelly to compare it to. But yeah, a lot of interesting design features that you don't see on them anymore. Like, look at the placement for the volume and tone knob. So now the tone knob is kind of up where this toggle switch is. It's usually kind of around the base of the Floyd Rose. And the volume knob is usually up at the middle of the bridge pickup. So that's pretty cool. We've got the early 80s logo. This is pre Mother of Pearl logo up here. And on the early Jackson logo, let me see if we can see it here. You can kind of make out, let me get the right angle. It's a little dusty. Sorry about that. But in person, at least, can I get it to show? There we go. Look around the O there. See how you can see, and around the J, the outline of the decal? So the outline is a bit more easy to spot on these early models. This is when the company was just getting going, and it's a true 80s decal versus what was later an inlay, a mother of pearl inlay, or maybe a more refined decal. There's your early Floyd Rose Nut. And again, get up close of the truly original Floyd Rose. This is the original case too, by the way. Let me take this out of the case. Loving the pinstriping on the bevels, front and back. But yeah, so the original case looked almost like a plain Fender case. I'm not sure. It looks like maybe this is the guitar shop sticker there. This was bought in London, by the way, the collector said. So you've got original Allen keys, original truss rod tool, and this is what the storage compartment looks like. Original case in very good condition. Usually they're beat to hell, but this one's pretty clean. All the latches are present and intact and work. So very rare to see an early 80s San Dimas fitted Kelly case. All right, so going back to the back of the guitar. So it's fully painted, and the white is still pretty vibrant. It hasn't aged as much as you'd probably expect. You can see the back of the Floyd Rose Nut there, what it looks like on this early example. No branding on the tuners. And the tip is very intact and kind of maybe a bit more rounded on the early San Dimas models. You can see the control cavity cover is flush, but the Floyd tremolo cavity is mounted above the body. Kind of a design oversight. It was early days. They're still figuring things out. And yeah, I mean, that's how it went. Here's your input jack. Look at that. Wow. Strap button there. Strap button. And everything on this guitar appears completely original. Wait till you see the other guitars in this collection. I mean, this guy, everything is just clean. It's original. It's not messed around with. I'm going to put it on top of the case so you can see. I want to do a whole condition report. I would rate this as very good condition. I mean, some would call it excellent for being nearly 40 years old. It's not mint. It's got little, there's a few little dings there. There's a little ding in the lacquer there. Trying to focus right there. But for a guitar that was clearly at all times a metal guitar from this period to survive this intact is pretty wild. Little ding on the pinstriping there and there. This can be easily touched up with permanent marker if you are so inclined. I prefer to keep the original authentic patina on a vintage instrument like this. You can see some lacquer lines in the paint, which is completely normal, very expected, and there you go there. It's what you want to see on these super early examples. The construction techniques, the paint techniques during this era was very much, you know, in my opinion, kind of like these guys were getting overwhelmed with orders and were getting very popular very fast. So, and we're new. It's a new company. A lot of these guys that were working at this time were not necessarily the master craftsmen that we now famously know them as. Of course, they were obviously very, very talented. Also, the technology back then, the paint materials, the techniques back then, not what they are today. You know, the way they build and paint and finish guitars today is totally different than how they were done nearly 40 years ago. So yes, you do see paint aging blemishes, but this is exactly the correct patina, a great and easy way to authenticate the guitar, and makes it much more valuable than a refinish, which is much more common. I would have to say that for the era, this is the cleanest, most intact example I have ever seen. The only thing I've ever seen cleaner has been refinishes. And we've had a couple, we did have you can see we had a couple 85 San Dimas Kellys, but it's just different when you get this low, when you get, you know, below the 500 mark on the serial number, things get really cool and they're really different. And you're talking about the earliest days of the company, guys. Down the fretboard, a little bit more of the, you can see a little bit more of the finish blemishes there along the fretboard. That's it, guys. I'm at 12 minutes, so I'm out of time. But I think you've got a great idea of what this guitar is like in person. Go to reverb.com and EssexRecordingStudios.com if you want to buy it. See ya.